Welcome back, Agriscience. This is the last recording of the leadership unit. So by this point, I'm finally getting to the point where it's not quite so weird to talk to myself. So we're going to talk a little bit about a project that you're going to have for the whole semester, and that project is what we call SAE, or Supervised Agricultural Experience. Now, you're going to see more about SAE in the next module. We have an entire module that is devoted to SAE. So it's pretty important, and it's going to be a pretty decent sized portion of your grade. So I want to make sure that you understand what SAE is. You don't have to know what you're going to do today, but you do need to at least start thinking about SAE. Now, if you look up SAE on the internet, you're probably going to see something called SAE for All. That's National FFA's newest version of SAE. But I don't want to get you confused. So I'm going to just explain it in my own way in as simple a terms as I possibly can and give you some ideas that you can do as far as an SAE project. Your SAE is individualized to you. It's tailored to you and your interest. It's tailored to you and your resources. Now, this says that it's conducted outside of the regularly scheduled school day, and that used to be the case. However, we do try and give some in-class opportunities for you to earn some SAE time as well. So a third of the ag program itself is SAE. So that's why we're spending so much time on it. And that's why we want to make sure that everybody gets what we're talking about. So it is going to be a percent of your course grade. And if you'll go back to the syllabus, you can see exactly what the percentage is for this particular course. So the purpose of SAE, or Supervised Agricultural Experience, is to give you an opportunity to explore a lot of different things that you're specifically interested in. Educational experience gives you practical experience in something that you like. You may reach a point where you actually can earn some money through your SAE, depending on whatever it is that you decide to do. You are going to have an opportunity to keep records through a computer program called the Ag Experience Tracker, the AET, and I will give you a little bit more information about how to log into that during the next module. It will also give you an opportunity to win FFA awards, potentially. There is a proficiency award program that helps to reward those students who do a good job with their SAE projects. And we've had a couple of students recently who have won on a state level for their work with either making goat milk soap using our milk from the barn, or actually working with the goats at the barn. So that was a couple of opportunities for those students. And since they were state level winners, they do get a nice little check from the state of North Carolina. Now, as far as types of SAEs, there's a lot of different things you can do. These are just some examples. And to be perfectly honest, there's a whole trail that you're supposed to follow with the SAE for all stuff. But for me, as long as you're doing something that's agriculture related that you like, I'm not going to make you follow the trail. I just want you to make sure that you're doing something that you enjoy. So one way you can do that is through an exploratory SAE. And through this exploratory, they're usually kind of short. It just helps you to learn a little bit more about agriculture. These are usually good first year SAEs. Maybe you go and you work with somebody and you job shadow somebody. I've had students who have gone and just worked at a vet for a day or two, or they've worked on a horse farm for a day or two, or even a florist. So you're just observing potentially. Maybe you interview somebody about their job. Maybe you create a video about some particular job in agriculture. Maybe you attend some sort of a career fair. With this particular SAE, you're just learning more about careers and agriculture in general. So exploratory is one of those things where you're just exploring agriculture, but you're producing something from that exploration experience, whether it be a record of hours or a report, or even a TikTok video. Hadn't had one of those done. That could be interesting. Entrepreneurship means that you own something and that you are responsible for that ownership. Now, it could be that you're part owner or that you fully own something, but you're assuming financial risk for something. Um, these help with you learning how to kind of manage money and juggle money. I've had students before who have started their own businesses doing some landscaping type stuff. I've had students who have had sold eggs. I've had students who have owned animals that they used for an entrepreneurship project. We had one student who has this summer has just grown a huge garden and been selling produce. So type of SAE, one type is entrepreneurship, and with that particular one, you are running your own business. Doesn't mean you got to have a storefront or something like that, but maybe you are producing something. Uh, Vegetables, Christmas trees, pigs, a special breeded dog. I don't know. Or you could have your own business. And I've had a couple of students who have done that type of stuff. Some people who have done horseback riding lessons, some people who have done pet sitting. All of these are entrepreneurship because you are hopefully earning some money for this business that you have created. So that's one type of SAE. Maybe you don't have those resources. Maybe you want to work for somebody. With placement SAE, you're actually working for some sort of an agricultural business. You have a job, you have a boss, you get a paycheck, probably, not necessarily. It doesn't have to be a paid job, but you are not necessarily responsible for the business itself. You are just responsible for working there. Maybe you work in a greenhouse for somebody. Maybe you work on a farm for somebody. We had a couple of students who have gone and put in some fences for people in the neighborhood. So, those are options as well. If you're working for somebody, maybe you're working at a store, maybe you're working at a florist, maybe you're working for a landscaping business. So placement is where you're just working for somebody, and there's some opportunities for SAE there. This is probably my type of SAE. If I were going to do something, I really like DIY projects. I like to take something that looks kind of ugly and make it look better. And so improvement is one of the ones that just does exactly that. It improves something. It makes it look better. It adds to value of a home or a business, some other type of facility. You probably are not going to earn any money. You don't necessarily have to own it. Now, you may earn some money. Somebody may give you some money to do a job, but maybe you are, putting in landscaping around your back deck. I had a student one time years ago who actually put in a prayer garden at her church. She didn't get paid for it, but it was a really good way to get back to her church. So maybe you're doing a fence, building a storage shed. Maybe you're assisting with, cutting grass at nursing home facility. I don't know, but you basically are trying to make something look better. Now, the thing about improvement is it's not something that you just do in an afternoon. We're not talking about painting a bedroom. We might be talking about remodeling and painting, but painting a bedroom is going to come in a different category. Washing a tractor is going to come in a different category. That's going to only take you like an afternoon to do something like that. Improvement usually is a series of steps. It takes a little while. It takes some planning. It takes some processing to get through an improvement activity. Analytical, this is for those people who like to think. And maybe you have this problem that you're thinking of and you can't figure out exactly how you would do an experiment to fix the problem, but maybe you just want to learn more about it. Maybe you're looking at something like water pollution and you want to look at how we can do better as far as water pollution in Cleveland County. And maybe you look at some resources from the EPA's website and you write a research paper. I don't think I've ever had anybody, and this is, I've been here a long time, but I don't think I've ever had anybody that's just voluntarily done an analytical project. But it is one that you can do without any other resources than just the internet and a way to do a research project or a research paper. So you choose some sort of an agricultural problem, you do a research project on it, you gather data, and you come up with some sort of a product based on the research that you came up with. You can write a research paper, maybe you can write a plan, maybe there's maybe somebody wanted to take our goat milk soap and write a marketing plan, how we could better market our goat milk soap to people in the community. That is what an analytical plan is. You do not have to have any other resources in order to do an analytical SAE project. I always have people that come up and say, I don't have anything. I don't have any animals. I don't have any plants. I don't have anywhere to grow anything. You don't have to have actual agricultural resources in order to do an SAE, especially an analytical one. Experimental is more or less doing a science fair project. With the experimental project, you're coming up with some sort of an agricultural problem, and you're figuring out a way to test that problem and come up with an answer. Maybe you look at different fertilizers and how they affect corn growth. Maybe you look at the phases of the moon and whether or not the phases of the moon affect how much plants grow. You can actually compete in a state agriscience fair using this one. That state agriscience fair is done typically at the state FFA convention, and then projects are carried over to the National FFA convention if you qualify. So we had a student who actually competed virtually in the state FFA convention and agriscience fair this past year, and he won in his category. So if you like doing science stuff and you like doing experiments, this might be a good option for you. So here's that one that I said would come later, where you just do something in an afternoon. It's a very quick, easy project. Doesn't take you very long to do it. It's something that you can do without a whole lot of planning. Maybe you are cutting the grass one afternoon. Maybe you're pruning a tree. Maybe you are trimming hooves on goats. These are a lot of simple, small projects. And some people like to add up a whole lot of supplementary projects to do, and I don't have a problem with you doing that as long as you're getting in some time and some effort through these activities. So supplementary activities a lot of times are things that you can do pretty much in an afternoon without having to have a whole lot of planning involved. And there may be things you're already doing. There may be chores that you're already doing that you can count for an assignment. Ever thought you could count your chores for an assignment? A lot of times we get parents that are like, oh my gosh, I love this assignment because my kids are actually doing their chores. So sometimes doing your chores can get you school credit. So supplementary might be a good option for you. Now, if your wheels are turning, great. Start thinking about what it is that you want to do, and you can ask me when we have office hours, or you can email me, and I'll be glad to answer any questions. If your wheels are not turning yet, get them turning, because you're going to have something to do for your SAE. You'll have the entire semester to work on it. And I will be with you in the next unit. Actually, Mr. Harris, I think, narrates most of them in the next unit, in the next module for SAE, and tells you how to put all your stuff in as far as SAE. But anytime that you have questions, please make sure that you feel free to ask those, because this is going to be a big part of what you do this semester. So that is it for the leadership unit. We will be back in the next unit with global agriculture. We'll talk a little bit about how things got started in agriculture and some inventions and things like that. But until then, check out the SAE module, and we'll start looking at any questions that you have for that particular assignment.